episodes 21 to 26, titled The Keys or Maggots. And if you're curious about, like, wait, the last time you covered Doctor Who, you covered episodes 12 and 13. Where's 14 to 20? Where's Marco Polo? Well, the reason that is back in the 1960s, the BBC and the rest of the world didn't know about streaming or DVDs or home media in general. So what they did to save money was tape record. So there is a good chunk of episodes of this show that will never see the light of day. There's the audio that has been recovered for Marco Polo. It's just does Disney want to pop up some change to make the Marco Polo recreation? I don't know. I don't think it'll be the same amount of money as, say, a Marvel animated show. But, you never know. We don't know the extent of this Doctor Who Disney deal, and we might get Marco Polo, but that's the reason that we have jumped into episodes 21 to 26. And watching this story at the beginning, I was really into it. I liked the planet. It's quite cute to see the little TARDIS model on the little set and it's fading in there. It's very cute. It's very cute. I was like, that's adorable. But at the beginning, I quite liked the world about, like, it's this little island, but you can't touch the water because it's acid. And you got these creatures, or there's like these, I assume they're meant to be aliens or creatures or soldiers or whatever. And they're in these ships and they are on there, so here's our villains and all cool. And I like the designs on their helmet. And then we have our main plot, which is the scientist, this leader of this world, of this island, is like, look, I need these, like, 4 keys. I need 4 keys right now. Because if I don't get the 4 keys, everything's going to go completely upside. And at the beginning, the Doctor's like, now, come on, my companions, come on, Susan and Barbara and Ian, just come back to the TARDIS. Okay, the scientist is not letting me go into my ship, so we're going to help him find these keys. So each episode beyond that point is going to one location to find a key. And good chunk of the episodes, I was really into it. You know, these different worlds and different atmosphere, and you know, you get this like Rome world, you know, and you're like, what's happening? Well, you know, Susan is, you know, Barbara's like, oh, everything's fine. I'm eating grapes. Would you like some grapes? And you meet these supporting characters of the story who are hypnotized by a brain with eyes, and you're like, I'm digging this, and it is quite interesting how this show was originally meant to be a history show for kids. And we have jumped into eyes, I say, talking brains. But to be fair, the second story of this show was nasty teapots with an egg beater and a plunger. So yeah, it wasn't that far of a switch. And then we go, and they deal with that and fight those guys, and then they go to the next world, and it is this forest. And the interesting thing about this story is it's very Doctor-less. Like, the Doctor isn't in this story a lot. He's in, like, what, like, half of it? Like, he's in episode 1, episode 2, and then he's in 5 and 6. So he's not in like two part 3 and 4. Because he's like, oh, I'll wait, everyone, opinions. I'll wait for you. I'll find the final key and all that kind of stuff. You're like, okay, cool. But then, so that was kind of interesting. It's like, can these opinions be enough to carry the story forward? And it does. And even though Susan, like, I get it, it's 1964. Categorization on a show that was originally meant for kids wasn't probably the most... Character development wasn't the thing on their minds, right? But I realized, and I can't believe it took me this long to realize, Susan's whole thing is just to scream and be the scared child. And I'm like, are you from, like, the 30, like, was it? She was born in the 51st century, of, like, the 30th century and all that kind of stuff. Like, is she, like the highest person in her class? And all that? Isn't she a smart girl? And most of this time, she's like, Grandpa, I'm getting kidnapped, And I'm like, how long do we get until we get that good speech about, one day, I will come back. Until then, there'll be no tears, no anxiety. Just go on to your beliefs and don't be wrong on being mistaken on mine. That type of thing. I'm like, how long till that? How long till David shows up? Because I'm like, okay, Susan, please, less swinging, just be a little bit more smart. Remember, you are a smart girl. You are highest of the class. That's why your teachers are entered into your grandfather's spaceship time travel machine. But anyway, I kind of wish, Susan was a little bit more of a character. But anyway, but you got this jungle thing, with this jungle that's very really alive. And I'm like, okay, what are you digging down? And you got some booby traps, and I like that world. And then you got probably the weakest is was it the Snow Tower? The Snow Tower, yeah. I mean, I kind of knew what was happening. I mean, I knew that the guy that they found wasn't nice. I actually thought like the guy was going to be like, Barbara, you will be my wife, and I thought it would be that shit happening, but apparently that didn't happen. Because I just felt like that would be that type of character would say and do, and that sense of it. Knights are the villain of it, so I was like, okay. But then, like, part 5 and slightly in part 6 of the story, it turns into a law or time traveling unit. I feel where Ian is framed for murder. And I'm like, okay, this is very interesting. And the doctor being the offended. I'm like, okay, cool, great, awesome. I'm really digging this. I want to know, like, I'm a sucker for crime stuff. So, let's. I'm watching this. I'm like, good. But then I realized, how I mentioned I like the designs of these like alien, these like warriors with the like melted alien thing. I will say this. I was like, by the end of the story, I'm like, yeah, I kind of wish these guys weren't there. It just felt like the rest of the story was tacked on. It felt like we can't just have them entering into the ship. Enter into the TARDIS, they get the keys, here you go, and call it a day. And I'm like, can't we have that? Do we need this extra plot of these, like, I don't know, I guess they're meant to be look like demons. These, like, demon helmet things Like, can we not have that? Can we just have, I don't know, a story with, you know, where like, hey, here's your keys, Professor. Even though he got killed off in the first episode, but here's your keys, Professor. And then, boom, TARDIS, all good, done. Yeah, getting up. I don't know, something about not. You know what it was? They probably thought, hey, the mainframe format, that's probably great for the adults. You know, mom and dad watching it with the kids. That could be something intriguing for them.